Hello and welcome to our weekly Parsha Share with a commentary of the Alshich HaKodesh. I should apologize. I think I've missed 2 weeks. I hope I told you in my last share that I was going to be having surgery. Nothing terrible, by the way. It was a hernia, but it was a 2-hour operation conducted entirely without the surgeon laying one finger on me. It was done robotically, and the robot was an extremely pleasant robot. I got on with it very, very nicely. If you like shiny silver complexions, I would strongly recommend having surgery done by a robot. It's got a better recovery time and less blood loss and trauma, etc., etc. Anyway, I am back, although last Shabbos and Erev Shabbos was flying to London and then up to Manchester. So as you can see, it's not been easy. The easiest time to be doing our normal weekly share. I hope you will forgive me. We're up to Bshalach. Of course, if I'd looked online, I could have seen when our last Seder was, but okay. Anyway, we're certainly up to the Parshas Bshalach. Probably, arguably, the most famous of all the Parshas in the Torah. The Jewish people eventually got out from Egypt, escape, pursued by Egyptian army. They eventually come with their backs, or end up with their backs to the sea. The Egyptians are well within weapons range, bow range, and spear throwing range of the Jews, and the Jews are terrified. And of course, the sea is chopped in half. The Jews go through, and amazingly, astonishingly, certainly according to the Vilna Gaon, the greatest of all the miracles, that's the last 10 makos, blood and tzfardea, frogs, etc., and culminating in the death of the firstborn. The Vilna Gaon says no. The fact that the Egyptians chased in after them, glug, 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 yiskadal, yiskadash, is more astonishing than anything. No, nobody in the right minds would not be able to guess what's likely to happen if you chase the Jews into that miraculous phenomenon in front of your eyes. After all, who do you think caused the sea to split, and for whom? And according to one opinion, it wasn't just one channel, but 12 channels for each of the various tribes, rather tailor-made for the Jewish people, not so much for the Egyptians, hence the Yiskadav, Yiskadash, glug, glug, glug. Okay, but if that is astonishing, what comes before that in the Chumash is equally astonishing. And there's so much depth here, no pun intended. There is so much depth here. I don't know if we'll be able to get it all in. Just check my timing here. And so I see it's 2:17, so I must have started around about 2:15. That'll tell me when to make you stop making you suffer. Anyway, so let's see if we can move on and for me to explain to you why it is so astonishing. So I'll take up my little art scroll Chumash, the one I forgot to do our dedications, didn't I? The dedications for Rav Shalema, for Chaim Mordechai Dov ben Esther, for Rav Chai ben Sora, for Oria Chaim ben Chani Yehudis, for Chai Simcha ben Bas Janet Jamala, Cheskel Yehuda ben Yenta Shmo ben Chana. I think that's it. If you would like to dedicate the share for somebody's refuah, if you would like to dedicate the share to celebrate a simcha, as a chus, or to mark a yortzeit, please be in touch via my website. That is yy@askrabbiyyy.com, yy@askrabbiyyy.com. Right. Now, see, if you don't get the share for a couple of weeks, you get rusty. Let's turn to the point I was talking about, Shlishi in the Parsha. If you have the art scroll Chumash, the little one or the big one, it's page 370. And if you like chapters, it's chapter 14, and it's verse 15. So the background, as we just said, the Jewish people are terrified. They come to Moshe with all sorts of complaints. Why did you take us here? We're doomed. And V'yama Hashem al Moshe. And Hashem says to Moshe, Ma titzakalai, why are you crying out to me? Dabra b'nei Yisrael v'yisol. Speak to the Jewish people and let them travel forward. Now, Rashi says two explanations here. The first one is very interesting, and the second one is simply astonishing. And as I said, if you're astonished by the behavior of the Egyptians, you'll certainly be astonished by the second explanation of Rashi. as to what Hashem's reaction was to Moshe davening to him. But let me read to you what Rashi says. So here's Rashi. Why are you calling out to me? Well, that obviously teaches us that Moshe was calling out to Hashem, and we normally define that process by the word tefillah, davening, prayer. So he was praying to God. The Jewish people are in a mess. So this is the first explanation Rashi says. This is not the time to have a very big, long Shemona Esra, to spend a long time in deep prayer. Not at all. When the Jewish people are in a state of great distress, you're the leader. You're supposed to be there supporting them. You can hang up now and go and do that. It might be the explanation. That's question. That's answer number one. Answer number two. This is the astonishing one. Why are you crying Olai to me? Now, Olai is spelled Aleph, Lamed, Yud. But Rashi is going to say that, and the Gemara says this, that very often the Aleph and the Ayin are interchangeable. And if we interchange, says Rashi, Olai, why are you crying to me, to Olai, on me, the responsibility is mine, then you got a totally different conversation or dialogue going on here. Hashem said to him, Ma titzik alai, why are you calling out to me? No, olai, why are you saying it's my responsibility? Olai hadover, I'm achroi, as they say in Hebrew. V'lo alecha, and not you. Kamoshikos, it says, lahonon, as it says later on, Al Bnei Yisrael, Al Pol Yodai, Tatzoni, and he brings various psukim to prove it's not up to me to do something, it's up to them to do something. Ein lahem ela lisa. All they have to do is to move forward. Sheda Yam Omid B'Fnehem, because the sea will not withstand the approach of the Jewish people and will split. Strange. The condemnation or the criticism of Moshe Rabbeinu is, it's not my responsibility, it's up to their responsibility. Get them to do something. But surely I would have said that praying to God for help would be the quintessential Jewish response to circumstances such as this. What is Rashi telling us? And of course, Rashi always is telling us, well, with the complete mastery of all the books you can see behind me and more, then Rashi is always taking the tiniest extract, but somehow in every occasion, extracting that tiny extract from the bit that will encompass everything. The depth of Rashi is unbelievable. But let's see if we can take this a stage further. Very often, students like you and I of Rashi will know that he, I think more than any other Medrash, quotes Medrash Tanchuma, Rebbe Tanchuma. Rashi liked, if that's the right word, the Medrash Rebbe Tanchuma. As I think I said in my last share, but it's now been about 3 weeks, and when you've had a general anesthetic, it affects your memory anyway. I bought myself a new set of Medrash Tanchuma. And this is one of 4 volumes. Can you see it behind me? Yes, it's just, oops. It reverses it. How do we do this? Oh, yeah, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this one. Okay, so my new Medrash Tanchuma I'm very proud to own. And to understand our Rashi, I'm going to take us into the Medrash report of a discussion, debate, which Rabbi Akiva had with Turnus Rufus. Turnus Rufus eventually is going to become one of the Caesars of Rome at this stage. He's the son of the current, or the then current Caesar of Rome. And it was he, when his father rushed off to become the Caesar, then it was he who finished the job of destroying the temple, climbing it up, as the Talmud says. A very unpleasant person. According to the historians, he was married to a Jewish princess. So his anti-Semitism, as so often Roman anti-Semitism was directed against Judaism, not necessarily Jews themselves. Jews were still welcome as long as they gave up any Jewish affiliation and will stand in the streets or the campuses shouting from the river to the sea, along with all the other neo-Nazis. As long as you joined the Romans, then they didn't really mind you had Jewish extraction and other Mediterranean people. However, I'll read this bit to you because I think it's interesting. If you're interested, you'll find this in the Parsha of Tazria, and it is Medrash Tanchuma Hey. This is intriguing. Turnus Rufus Harosha, the evil Turnus Rufus, once asked Rabbi Akiva, which acts, as is in Misa, which creative acts were more beautiful? Shal HaKodesh Baruch Hu or Shal Bos V'Adam? Was it God's creation? Is God's creation ultimately the most beautiful thing? Or people? What people make, artisans, artists, craftsmen, is that the most beautiful thing? It obviously seems to be laden with sarcasm, Amar Loi, and Rabbi Akiva answers, well, if I pause, what do you think he answered? I think you'd be surprised. Amar Loi shall bos v'adam noi. The work of man, of humanity, what human beings can create is much more beautiful than what God makes. Amar Loi Turnus Rufus replies, and are you telling me that a human being can create the heavens and the earth, which according to your belief he did? So what do you mean what's more beautiful? So Rabbi Akiva said, hold on, please be consistent in your argument. You've got to know how to debate here. Oh, incidentally, please note that Turnus Rufus is hardly an idiot. It's an enormous mistake to assume that the Caesars of Rome were anything but very highly educated people and very often brilliant people. Anyway, so the conversation carries on. Omar lo Rabbi Akiva, Lord Omar li bedobar shehu lamala min abrius. Please, we're going to compare like with like. Don't talk about God creating different planets and different stars. That's and compare that to human beings. Of course, human beings can't do that. But within the realm of what human beings can create and what God has created in that same realm, whose actions, whose creations, whose work is more beautiful? Definitely human beings. It's got to, you've got to be talking about, you've got to compare like with like. To which Turnus Rufus said, because this was really the point he was trying to get at, why do you circumcise your children, or why do you circumcise yourselves? And which, interestingly, the says, I knew that was the point you were trying to make. I knew that's where you were trying to get your argument to go. And that's why I said to you, because I knew you were coming to that. But what human beings do is more beautiful than what God does. And he brings shibolim, which is sheaves of corn, and glus kois. And glus kois, according to the commentator, it says it's round breads, but other commentators say it's particularly fine bread, particularly beautiful bread. Think of Italian or French bread. This is the creation of God, said he, pointing to the sheaves of corn, sheaves of wheat, or the kernels of wheat, I should say. And then pointing to the beautiful loaf, he said, and that's what men make of it. Would you not agree that the bread is more beautiful than the grain? Turnus Rufus replies, if that's true, if God wanted you to do the Bris Milah, then why doesn't the child emerge from his mother's womb already circumcised? And when a child is born, it's attached by the umbilical cord, the biblical cord, however you pronounce it, to the difference between English pronunciation and American. What do you do with that cord that keeps the child tethered to his mother inside his mother's womb, to the placenta? Is it going to dangle there forever attached to its mother's womb? No, of course, you cut the cord. And as to regarding your question, why don't people, or men, male children born already circumcised, God only gave mitzvahs to the Jewish people to be improved as a consequence. Okay, now David says, Amarti Hashem to Rufa, and Tehillim Yud Ches Lamed Aleph, Imras Hashem Tzerufa, the Imras Hashem, the words of Hashem are purifying. Or as the Alshich says many, many times in this commentary, the bracha we make before we do any mitzvah is Asher Kiddushana b'mitzvah. You allow me through doing this mitzvah to change and to refine myself, to purify myself. The mitzvah Asher Kiddushana, doing a mitzvah purifies myself. In other words, the greatest, God gives you the raw materials. This planet is the raw material. But what we do with this raw material, whether it's just metal, well, somehow or other they discover how to smelt metal, or to get iron from iron ore and then smelt it and turn it into the most basic tools, or turn it into steel that can make airplanes or spaceships, and the most delicate tools and instruments. That's us. So take the most basic bronze or Roman sword and compare it to what we do with that same metal today. Well, it's the basic metal, but what we do with it. The job of the human being is to take the raw material and to apply it and make it something special. But the most basic human raw material is the human being themselves. You've got to take yourself and make yourself better. And that's, go back to our Rashi, the second. Why are you davening to me? Do something. What do you want me to do? I've already done it. I've already given you everything you need, all the tools you need to go to the next stage. But in the context of Yetzias Mitzrayim, having witnessed the 10 miracles, what you need to do is to believe in the 10 miracles. You have to know that I did them. You have to have bitachon, betochen. You have to have trust. Or, as Ramat Solomon Ruach HaKodesh Divine Inspiration says, translates it, betochen is certainty in me. Having seen everything you just saw over the last year in Egypt, surely you should have betochen and certainty, then demonstrate it. Then demonstrate it. So, that's that interesting conversation Rabbi Akiva and Turnus Rufus. It is exactly what Hashem's saying to the Jewish people here as well. Rabbi Akiva says, Hashem gives us the raw material, we've got to improve it. We're given a body, we've got to improve it. That's circumcision. We're given wheat, we turn it into beautiful bread and beautiful cakes. But that's the application of everything in the world. Hashem gives us the raw material, including ourselves. Now improve it. Now build a relationship with me. Do my mitzvahs, bris milah, and the rest. You'll become a different person. This is something which the Alshich explains when he talks about this. So let's turn to this week's parsha of the commentary of the Alshich, and this is what he says. So I now take my Alshich. I'm looking at 2 Alshichs this week, and he, Vayam Hashem al Moshe, it's our pasuk. Vayam Hashem al Moshe, and Hashem says to Moshe, "Matitzak alai, why are you calling out to me? Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yisrael." And he asks several questions, but I think I'll just jump into the answers. So obviously, as Rashi already told us, it's quite clear that Moshe had already started to daven. If God's saying, why are you calling out to me? And he obviously was calling out to him. And Hashem should fight for you. And you said Hashem should fight. Why are you crying out and praying? Because Torah, she'ein b'bnei b'bonai zechus, v'hem tzrichim es tfilosecha, v'lo kenhu. Ki ne daber b'nei Yisrael, v'dibar kal v'yitcha, v'yusa b'sach hayam terem yavoka. You're calling out to me because you think that they cannot do anything. Yes, they can. And you think that they have no zechusim, they have no merits, they have no skills. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. From the Amunah, the faith, they are, after all, the sons and daughters of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. They have that within them. So let them go forward, demonstrate that, do something, bring that thought of Amunah and Betochen, and demonstrate it, make it real, bring it to life, turn the potential, the kernels of wheat, into a beautiful piece of baking. into a loaf or a cake. And the miracle will happen for them. You don't need me to do it. They can do it. But they have to demonstrate. They have to turn the potential into reality. Now, this is a concept, incidentally, the Alshich. It's not the only time he speaks about it. If we turn to Bamidbar, Alshich and Bamidbar, and we turn to the Sedra of Bshalach, then it talks about Gisobel Melchomel Ba'artzechem, and that's very pertinent for our situation today. When war comes to the land of Israel, I think today is 111th, day 111 of this Hamas war. Al Hatzar Hatzar Eschem, because of the Tsar Hatzar Eschem, the enemy who is oppressing you. But the ultimate enemy that oppresses us is the Yetzer Hara, and the oppression is based on his ability to prosecute us for things that we have done wrong. So when you come and pray to Hashem, then ultimately, says the Alshich, there is a process. He says it's the way, and listen to this, I don't think I'll spend time reading the whole thing to you. He says it's the way of stupid people, that when things go wrong in their life, that they pray and call out to God, and they say, God, there's only one God, there's only you can save us and nobody else. Instead of making things better for themselves, they make things profoundly worse for themselves. Because it's like going to see the bank manager and asking for a loan. And before you go and ask for a loan, you better make sure that your previous loan or the payment on your mortgages, they're all up to date. Because in asking for a new loan, he's going to obviously look at your bank records. And if he sees that you've been appallingly bad at paying back the debts that you've already had through the loans process of the bank, he's not going to give you a new loan if your account is in the red. So make sure it's in the black. Do something. So he says, as the Alshich, it's the way of stupid people that when they are in trouble, they pray out to God. They pray to God. When you're in trouble, you've got to do something. Invest in your account, make deposits in your account to show you're worthy of further investment. And that will, as it were, challenge and refute the claims of the Yetzer Hara who is attacking you. And there's a big message for us there as well. So that's the story of this strange interlude in the Torah. But there's something else here which is, I can't resist telling you, and this is from the Vilna Gaon. I learn this with my chavrusa every morning. We learn Mishlei with the commentary of the Vilna Gaon. And it's a very, very long piece. I'm not really going to be able to go into it in great depth, but it's in chapter 16 of Mishlei, and it's in Pasuk Dalet. And it says, Kol Pol Hashem Lemanehu. Everything that Hashem does, all the actions of Hashem is Lemanehu, is for him, his sake. V'gam Rosha L'yam Ro, and also the actions of an evil man, because eventually the actions of an evil man will be punished. People will be able to see that in the great Yom Hadin, the final day of judgment, and all the pieces, the mysterious pieces of the puzzle, of the jigsaw puzzle of human history and Jewish human history will fall into place and will understand exactly how it all worked and how the bad, even when they seemed to triumph, didn't. That's what the Apostle seems to be saying. But I got to read to you what the Vilna Gaon says here, because I think this is very, very, very interesting, and it fits perfectly into what we are saying here. Now, there's 4 psukim that all stay with the same theme. I've only just taken Pasuk 4, but there's the other 3 as well, but we don't need to, I hope, go into those. These 4 psukim are telling you giving you a good piece of advice how to proceed with your life according to the way God would want you to go. Because every single one of us has got a unique path in life. As the Gemara says, no intellect is the same. Each intellect is individual. Each person's way of seeing things is individual. No 2 faces are identical. So therefore, how could the nature of a person be the same? So therefore, when a person needs to know which path to pursue in life, when we had Nevi'im, you would go and he would be able to tell you the unique makeup of your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, your temperament, your affections, and your skills and attractions to different paths in life. they would be able, a Novi or a Navia, to diagnose what your path in life should be. And they would give you, according through to the path of the Nevuah, how to proceed with whatever issue you're having at any particular time. According to the the ingredients that go to make up your soul and gufa and your physical thing as well, your physical makeup as well. You can find that in Sharbatoch and the Chovs Levovos, when he talks about somebody with an intellectual bent should take jobs like accountancy, that sort of thing, which don't need great physical exertion. Somebody very physically strong can obviously consider becoming a lumberjack. And that's what it means, a person is to be a marchilev. Marchilev, and that's the possibly Aleph in Tessin in chapter 16 in Mishli, where it says, if a person has set his heart in balance, arranged his heart, or his thoughts perhaps, Hashem will make the words come out. And here the Vilna Gaon says that somebody who is spiritually imbalanced with Hashem, then the words that come from him, you can assume are invested with Ruach HaKodesh. So you could go to a Nobi, and such a person will be able to then all you have to do is somebody like that, a Nobi, who has obviously arranged his life and his existence to be in sync with Hashem, then you can assume that the words are going to be inspired by Hashem and effectively getting the answer from Hashem. And that's why the Apostle said, Apostle Aleph, he will put the words in your mouth. How to behave. But we don't have Nevi'im anymore. What do we do? Yesh Ruach HaKodesh B'Yisrael, Yesh Ruach Hu Yodeinu. But that doesn't mean to say that Ruach HaKodesh, divine inspiration, that link, becoming a mouthpiece of God, has vanished from the Jewish people. But you should know, listen to this, Ruach HaKodesh applies to every single one of us. Each of us can have Ruach HaKodesh. Asher Odom lo yashav Hashem lo oven be'in barucha. Ramia, as long as you are a person who has put yourself in balance with Hashem, Asher kiddushona b'mitzvah, who's gone in Hashem's ways, who has taken the raw material that you are made to be, and refined that, then you too can have somebody who is Ruach HaKodesh. Somebody called Rabbi Zimmerman, who's the based in of the Federation based in London, told me he was having a conversation with Ramat Sion. We're talking about the Chazon Ish and whether or not the Chazon Ish had Ruach HaKodesh. And I think he said from Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky. Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky said an astonishing thing. It is said about the Chazon Ish that he had Ruach HaKodesh. So Reb Shmuel Kamenetsky said, I'm not sure if he had Ruach HaKodesh or not. What I can tell you, though, is that somebody who makes themselves to be like the Chazon Ish is likely to have Ruach HaKodesh. That if you've made yourself in balance, as it were, if you've copied Hashem, because all the mitzvahs are to copy Hashem's behavior, v'halachta bedrochov, and you will go in his path. Zekeli, this is this part of the song they sing at the Red Sea. Zekeli Anvehu, this is my God, and I will honor him or glorify him. But the word Anvehu is Ani Vehu, I will be like him. Anybody who makes themselves like that, that is Ruach HaKodesh. Ramat Solomon said that the Rosh Hashiva of Gates said, Rabbi Avram Gurovitz asked his father, my Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Leib Gurovitz, he says, that's what I think Ruach HaKodesh is. Anyone who makes themselves as one, a copy, an echo, or a reflection of God is likely to have God's ideas reflected in his ideas. That's something to achieve. To take the raw material that we are, refine it, craft it, to become something which is a reflection of Hashem. Then you have Ruach HaKodesh. Then you can go through the sea, and miracles will happen for you. Because after all, you're a reflection of Hashem. I wish you all a good Shabbos. I look forward to seeing you Next week, I'll be in Jerusalem next week. I'll try and get to a computer. And the week after that, I'm doing a Shabbaton with NCSY in Cleveland, Ohio, which I'm looking forward to immensely. That'll be able to do it, I hope. Anyway, you should have a wonderful Shabbos. I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Bye.